I think a lot of the people who joined seemed a little bit inclined to think, let's be different. Let's be a different kind of church.
That's why they came. They came to Trinity because it was a fresh air. When it started, everybody pitched in and did everything. Just whatever was needed, you did, and you had such fun doing it. It was a joy to do it.
And the deacons have the responsibility of seeing to the internal and external outreach of the congregation.
It didn't even have a name. It was just a new church was going to be formed in Columbia. And this was the brainchild of First Presbyterian Church and the minister John McMullen at the time. My husband and I, and he was the minister of the Presbyterian Church in Caruthersville, Missouri. We got some telephone calls from the First Church here in Columbia to see if Jim would be interested in starting a new church in Columbia. And from what we knew of the people we'd met, it'd be wonderful. Just great. We said yes, and that was it.
The feeling that we were youthful and excited. We were very excited about being able to move toward purposes that just came to mind, if you will. Of course, you always have things that you need to follow as standards, but the fact is that that was the feeling of fun and excitement.
Those founding members saw that God did not fit into any of those conformists' boxes, and that there was a mystery about the presence of God in people's lives and in a community's life that, trying to define that with a confession or a doctrine couldn't quite reach. And so they were not going to let those kind of things get in the way of the Spirit moving among them to help them to grow in a particular direction. And I think that it really marks them as being unique from the get-go.
Then Trinity got started, and we decided on the name Trinity. This is the first group, and it was one of the most exciting things. We were all in our 20s and 30s, and you know how at that age you can get so enthusiastic about something. We were going to plan just the way we wanted our church to be.
Age does change your tendency to be excited, but anyway, that's what I remember, is that feeling of new ventures and opportunities.
And there were some other churches in the presbytery that prayed for us because they thought, we were going the wrong direction, but that's all right. I don't think we were.
To know where kind of the Orthodox boundaries have always been, but to look past that and to look at how the Spirit of God might be moving in ways that are beyond those kinds of boundaries. That's just very unusual, I think, in a group of Christians in this day and age.
We decided we would set this church up not on the pattern that was popular, like there's a minister, you've got this, and you've got the women's group, you've got the men's group, you've got young people, and you did this and that and the other. And so we decided, we don't want that. We did away with women's groups and men's groups. We had couples, men and women together, and then we wanted families, so children were incorporated too.
It's become who they are, their commitment to being non-rigid. It just comes across in this kind of open attitude where both when you're speaking to someone, there is a real curiosity about that person as an individual, whether they have ever been a Christian themselves or not, to looking at a particular topic or to Scripture and nothing being off limits to be able to talk about.
This, to start out with, wasn't even here. We just had that part of the building, which was the original part, and folding chairs, folding tables, nothing fancy, but we decided we wanted to build more building, get fancy, but we decided no, we'll sit on hard chairs and save that money and put it wherever it's needed. And that's what we did. That was the beginning philosophy. Everyone working together, we had such a good time. We had good parties too.
The original building was not a church-like building, but the idea was to have a family situation where the whole family came, the whole family would be in the service, and that we would have study and worship continuous. That's what developed from the excitement of the opportunity.
I think the thing that makes the people at Trinity really special is that they have this winsome quality. They are exceptionally curious, and they are extremely loving. And I don't find that combination in any church where I have ever served. And it was certainly what attracted me to this church as a pastor. And I think that it is automatically what sets this church apart and is attractive for others who come here. They feel it when they come in the door here.
The chance to be of help to people who are struggling to find their way in life. It goes with having the resources, the feel of responsibility is only one good word for it, but there are others of encouragement, support, feeling of finding ways to help other people through their struggles, no matter where they are, what they're doing.
There was a children's home in Farmington, Missouri for children who were either orphaned or had no homes or had to have care. But they lacked a lot of things. So we would work closely with the director, and when there were children that could take a break, well, there were several families here in Trinity who would go down and get the kids for a weekend, bring them up and give them the best time. And we got very close to some of those children like that. Then the church got together. I think some of the young people were doing car washes. We did anything. And we bought a van for the children's home and presented it. But that's sort of typical of what the church wanted to do.
But our congregation joined in very much with direct attention to the needs of the young people in the home down there and of the staff. We took on a desire to help the leader of the Farmington home have funds available to be able to give staff an opportunity to catch their breath.
I think that the folks here at Trinity just really love doing anything that relieves anybody's suffering. It's more than just mission projects. I think that this church just has a missional attitude of seeking and enjoying the relief of the suffering that's going on around them in the name of Christ. The folks here are extremely generous, not only with their money that they're willing to give, but specifically their time and emotional energy.
You know, I don't think you can judge a church on its size, because sometimes the most powerful things can come in smaller packages. And Trinity is not a big church, and I don't think it ever intended to be a huge church. And now we've got a wonderful minister who's, I think, helping guide in the right direction.
I would like to dream that Trinity will be further involved in becoming open open-minded and open-armed, open heart for all ways of thinking, of all ways of understanding our relationships to God and to each other.
And it's so nice to see some young people and children, and the excitement's there. I hope it just continues, and to live outside of itself and live for those who need it.
Moving forward, always advancing. What's the word? Reformed, always reforming is an expression used in the Presbyterian Church.
I love this group now, and I always have, and I just love the spirit that's been here. Has been and is a great experience.
Sometimes when we have a really great gift, we don't realize it. And I think that Trinity is that way. There is a humility about what they have here. And so, if anything, what I would like to say is, don't hide your light under a bushel. Be aware of folks that are around you that are lacking what you probably take for granted, which is this wonderful community. And so invite others to come here to church. Invite others to come here to whatever event. Invite them to come to worship. You'll be surprised that people take you up on that, and also surprised how much they'll get out of being in this community.
It's hard for me to cut anything off at one word. Well, I can give you several and you take your pick. Okay. I think sharing, joyful, compassionate, and all-encompassing. You take your pick.
Caring and loving. Well, that's two.
It meant most of my life. It meant the most exciting, the most loving, sharing, the best friends of my lifetime. It's really been, I think, the greatest part of my life.